American Water. That's our water company, all right? Couple questions that came up. I think Eaton had a 1 million gallon tank and it wasn't full, and that was part of a problem. We have 2 million gallon tanks for just Piru, and they're kept full. They're not partial, they're kept full. Another good thing for us is we are gravity fed from those tanks. We don't depend on pumps. We do depend on pumps to refill them, and they have a generator in place that goes on immediately if there's a power outage to keep those tanks full. So, you know, in that regard, we have a really good water supply here in Piru. The other group that wanted to be represented here is BC Food Share. I just want to call them out for them jumping on our sort of the prolonged outage we had, and they came out 3 times with food. Many of you saw it or took advantage of that, where right on Center Street at Corazon de Piru, we had truckloads of food come in and we were passing them out. And probably a couple hundred families on 3 occasions got food. Plus we normally have them once a month coming to the church, and they would like to get set up to bring food here one more time a month, which Irene and I are working on. So they have been a wonderful partner in helping us, so I wanted to call them out. And then I have one other thing that I'm going to talk about, trying to get volunteers to now pledge themselves to being volunteers, and I'll finish up with that after the presentations here. So, Sonia Croft with VC Human Services.
Thank you so much, Ken. Thank you for the invitation. Wanted to share a little bit about a project that we're working on at the Human Services Agency. It's a needs assessment project. We're in the 3rd year. We're wrapping it up. It's specifically looking at the needs of people with access and functional needs in all stages of disasters. People with access and functional needs include pregnant women, people with disabilities, seniors, people who are low income, limited English. As we know, that's many folks in our county and in our community here in Piru. So the goal of this is to really develop some actions and strategies that can help inform future planning for emergencies, also help provide some training and capacity building for nonprofits to better serve these populations. What we do know is that during disasters, people with access and functional needs are disproportionately impacted. They have a harder time getting the word, they have a harder time evacuating, they certainly have much worse outcomes in recovering from disasters. Can everybody hear me in the back? No, I'll try to speak up. Thank you. So what we've been doing is doing a needs assessment of the community for the past year. We surveyed over 880 individuals. We surveyed multiple community partners. We did 5 listening sessions across the county, 3 town hall meetings. The assessment report is currently being finalized. It's going to be translated. It will be posted on our website and shared out with community and individuals who participated and others who might be interested. We're also going to present a toolkit. I wanted to tell you a little bit about some of the findings that we have had in this project. First of all, in terms of preparedness, I won't read the slide. I'll let you take a look at that yourselves, but I want to highlight a few of the key findings that we found. One of the things that we found is older adults are more likely to be prepared than young folks. They're more likely to have a plan. They're more likely to sign up for alerts, and also to know where they would go if they would evacuate. Young people under 25 are half as likely to create a plan in Ventura County. Social isolation is a really big factor, a big barrier to disaster readiness. 65% of those people who lack strong social connections felt very or somewhat unprepared for emergencies. And over half of them didn't know where they would evacuate if they had to evacuate. We know that a lot of our seniors, a lot of folks are socially isolated nowadays, so that's a significant factor. Also, people who face higher risks also had less preparation. So people with disabilities, Residents with larger households were less likely to prepare and to know where to go. They were not as comfortable with the idea of evacuating to a shelter. Also, transportation was a concern for many people, and we'll speak about that a little bit more. People with lower incomes, less likely to be able to prepare a plan, even things that didn't cost money, having taken time to just come up with a plan, prepare a go bag, was much more difficult. Farm workers, as we know, also face additional challenges. The time to attend, planning meetings, language barriers, transportation. Then the next thing we looked at was response. So how did folks get their information, and what were some of the barriers to evacuating? Most residents, we found, use multiple methods of communication to get their disaster information. People who are blind, have disabilities, or were hard of hearing typically relied more on television and radio. People who speak languages other than English tended to use 211, and people with developmental or intellectual disabilities also used 211 more often. We found that women relied more heavily on VC emergency. So a lot of different ways that people are accessing that information. People who don't use technology often had a harder time also accessing information, finding out important information, since a lot of this information is web-based. A lot of the folks in our listening sessions said, either they didn't want to be plugged in, they couldn't afford it, or they were too busy. It was just not accessible to them. People with limited English or who speak indigenous languages also had a lot of barrier in being able to respond for obvious reasons. One of the significant barriers to evacuation that maybe we didn't expect as much is that many people didn't evacuate for concern for their animals. They didn't want to leave their pets behind. They didn't have a plan, whether it was farm animals, service animals, or pets. So that was an interesting factor. Many people also weren't aware of the fact that they could evacuate with their pets, shelters offered that option. Many folks with developmental or intellectual disabilities didn't plan on going to shelters because they didn't really think that the shelters could accommodate special needs. So there isn't an awareness of the fact that shelters do have capacity to accommodate many different types of special needs. Another thing that we learned that certainly is reflective of what we're hearing today is a lot of folks who rely on backup power. That was about 19% of people who responded to our survey relied on backup power, whether that was for chronic diseases, for breathing, whether that was for emergency battery, for their wheelchairs or for other basic needs, did not have a backup power supply. So less than 1% were actually signed up for Southern California Edison's critical care backup battery program, very low numbers, and fewer than 2% had a separate source of backup power. So that's a big concern, lack of backup power for people who rely upon that. Also, people with cognitive and memory difficulties. We know that over 16,000 people in Ventura County suffer from Alzheimer's disease, so this is very common that folks may also have difficulty following instructions or understanding emergency protocols. It's just another factor that was evident through the research. Access to medication is another barrier. A lot of folks did not have, over half did not have backup medication ready in preparation for disaster. So another thing for people to think about as you make your own plans. And then transportation challenges. A lot of folks expressed concern about transportation, especially people who rely on specialized transportation. People were concerned about the availability of drivers outside of regular work hours, coordination of transportation, vehicles that break down, services that weren't consistent even during regular times, so they were concerned about the availability during emergencies as well. And then also individuals who live more remotely typically have less awareness of the transportation resources that are available to them, so Piru would certainly fit into that. So the last area is recovery. We looked at what resources people might have taken advantage of during past emergencies, and why, what they were aware of. Lack of knowledge of resources was particularly noticeable, was particularly strong among people who had limited English. They were just not aware of many of the resources that might have been available to them. We also found that many people need help accessing financial resources following a disaster. A quarter of people who were impacted by disasters, who reported having been impacted by disasters, didn't receive any assistance because they said they didn't know about it. And only 33% of all respondents said that they knew about any recovery assistance resources being available. Another area that we found is mental health. Very important after disaster. Disasters are traumas, and we know whether or not we discuss it, whether or not it's acknowledged, it has an impact on us. Only 25% of people who received any assistance received mental health assistance, and we know that everybody who was impacted had some mental health impact. And people often overlook the mental needs that are there after an incident. Language barriers, of course, was another one to receiving post-disaster assistance. Housing, as we know, it's a challenge already under blue sky days. Certainly following a disaster, a lot of folks with access and functional needs reported concerns about how they would find housing and where they would go following a disaster. And then I guess lastly, the piece that we found was just limited awareness of resources overall. That while there are a lot of resources that are out there to support community members throughout different stages of disasters, many people are not aware of them who might actually qualify for them. So 65% did not know about the financial resources that they might actually have qualified for. So that's it from our survey. I wanted just to move very quickly into one last piece, which is total shift. This is a resource that the Human Services Agency provides following disasters. We are not typically a disaster providing agency. We're a public social services agency, and aside from the mass care and shelter component that you heard Daniel speak about so well earlier, our agency provides basic social services, so eligibility determination for food, medical services like Medi-Cal and Covered California, employment services, things like that, housing and homeless services, veterans, in-home supportive services, and other things for seniors. But one thing that we do provide that would be relevant following a disaster, we provide CalFresh, which used to be known many years ago as food stamps. It's food assistance for folks on a little EBT card, a little electronic benefits card, to over 73,000 people in Ventura County. About 350 or 400 of those individuals live here in Piru and rely on CalFresh to feed their families. So during any kind of incident, that sometimes can be discontinued, or if food is lost, if there's food loss, if your food goes bad during a PSPS event, for example, power shutoff event, we do offer replacement CalFresh benefits for people who have suffered food loss. So that's one thing for folks who already received CalFresh. But there's also something called disaster CalFresh that can apply to anybody, whether or not they receive CalFresh benefits to begin with. So if a major disaster has been declared, in that instance, disaster CalFresh can be issued. People can apply for it. It's basically a 1-month EBT card that can be used anywhere that EBT benefits are accepted, which is a lot of places, fortunately. It does require a presidential major disaster declaration. That was the word I was looking for. And that also means that the state of California has been approved to operate a disaster CalFresh program. It does require an application. Our staff is available to help assist people, and we also have community partners who can help out. So happy to answer any questions either now or later if people have them.
Andrea McNeil, Assistant Superintendent of Fillmore Piru School District.
Good evening. I'm here on behalf of the Superintendent Chef Hurley. Just want to reiterate that it is our goal to ensure that we have a safe environment for our students And with that, we believe that keeping the schools open is the best way to provide support for the families. And we understand that each family needs to make its own decision in one of these emergency situations. As Ken has said earlier, the district is working to ensure that we have generators at our schools to be able to support primarily the refrigerators that we have, because we have quite a bit of food on each of our campuses, and also to be able to have outside contact for emergency situations and monitor our alarm systems. So that is something that we have in progress right now, where we're getting our sites assessed and working to get those generators installed. Basically, again, we're here to support the community and provide the space in those emergency situations. And, sorry, did you have a question? No, please, go ahead.
I have a question regarding, you were talking about generators, so is your primary concern just the food, what about the classrooms? Because the classrooms were dark during
Absolutely.
and everything, and there wasn't a way to do an assignment, so basically there wasn't really too much to do in the classroom, and the classrooms were dark.
Absolutely, understand that. The reason that we're focusing on the generators for the food right now is using the school as an emergency resource and to allow the community to have food in that type of a situation. We're working on a variety of options, you know, bringing in battery powered lights and looking at other alternatives. You know, it's going to take a lot more than generators to be able to operate the electricity in all our classrooms. So looking at alternatives for those power needs.
This is a huge step for us, and I understand that Piru is being chosen as the first school in the district to get this. And it is the school district recognizing that they can do a lot more than just for the school by locating it here, because we don't have a PSPS location. And this instantly, you know, a school cafeteria, which is a commercial kitchen, perhaps works at 10-15% capacity, which means we immediately have the capacity to do soup kitchens, to receive food from food share, and have one place in our town where people can gather and be inside. It could be a heat event we're in and people need air conditioning, or it could be a cold event and we need heat. So we have to start somewhere, and I think you've picked the most critical spot to start for our community. So huge thanks for that.
Thank you. And just to clarify, the air conditioning is getting installed right now at the multi-purpose room, so that will be available before we need it.
Nice.
I just want to say, I know a lot of the people are divided on this, but for me personally, I want to say thank you guys for being open when you guys were with the power outages, because to me, you guys gave parents the ability to be able to go to work. And even the after-school program that stayed open until 5. Yes, it was a little cold. The teacher sent out, it's a little chilly in the room. They wore a jacket. My daughter thought it was the coolest thing ever. She says natural light. We're using natural light around the house now, and it's just really, to me, it was a good thing for our community. And even the teachers, everybody kind of worked together. I really thought it was really, really nice to see that in Piru. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I will definitely pass that along. Thank you.
Do we have any other questions?
Yeah, will they ever think about maybe putting solar cells on the school and maybe doing a battery system? So to her point, especially regarding the lights, it's just that I come from back east. I actually come from both places, but you know, we call a snow day, and you know, we don't go to school on snow days because of danger. Now I understand, you know, because I raise kids. My kids are 28 and 26, but you know, and overcoming adversity is important, because it teaches us that we can get stronger and happier that we live. I do understand that.
Thank you. Yes, I had a few snow days myself. I absolutely agree that we need a power alternative. I can't commit to what that is right now. My concern personally with the solar panels on top of any kind of a roof, when we're talking about 80-mile winds coming across and children, it doesn't seem to me that that's the first answer, but we are definitely looking at alternatives, and generator first is our first step, and then we'll continue from there.
I've always thought that if they had some type of working solar system up there, that the kids could use it as a science center.
It's a great opportunity to learn, absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Now we're going to move to a quick introduction. If folks don't know about it, one of the more amazing CERT teams. I mean, I come from Santa Clarita, and Little Piru has a way more active CERT team than I was used to in Santa Clarita. So I have to say that it's an impressive group of folks. Why don't you talk about it for a minute?
Mike Lopez again. Get every single CERT member right now stand up, please. Everybody that's there we go. Honestly, give these people a round of applause. I've seen them in action, and one thing that I want to thank them on, where I really saw us come together, kind of Patrick mentioned, in 2023, we were on an island out here. We had no resources. It was just us and the water rising. We came together. Danny Ramirez came together, and we hit it hard. We took care of each other. So I want to continue that. So let's get more of CERT involved. You mentioned about doing drills. We can definitely get that incorporated with County Fire. They've reached out to me to do drills and incorporate us and other cities around the county to keep our skills fresh. So with that being said, sign up. We got a CERT program. Everybody works really hard. It's pretty dialed. When we had the fire, the Hughes fire, we were getting ember fallout here. We were getting a lot of stuff going. I was off duty that day, so I took a drive to the lake to get eyes on it. I ran into sheriffs. They were funny, and I'm like, yeah, we got our CERT activated. Perfect, go to work. So they were aware of it. It was pretty neat. I can't say about how important it is. We even have little walkie-talkie radios that we're always charged. It's good to go. I mean, even when the other fire, Felicia fire, broke out, we were actually doing a vegetation management fuels project that day. We were running chainsaws, cleaning yards, and that broke out. And the CERT went into traffic mode. Let's help people out. So we're self-sufficient. We're able to assist county resources as they come into town. But ultimately, we got to help each other out because there's not enough resources to go around. We got to take care of our own. So with that said, I want to thank Irene. You could text her that you want to sign up.
Yes.
But any questions on CERT? Who wants to sign up?
Well, I just want to add, because when CERT was activated and you guys were talking about a lot of the stuff, even getting to that meeting, we needed goggles, masks, and the head, it was just really dark. So you guys add that to your group, add that to your cart tonight on Amazon.
So this last CERT class, we did it with Fillmore Fire. And when everybody graduated, they got backpacks with all the essentials they needed: goggles, gloves, a multi-tool for, gas valves. So, we could always add stuff to the kit, but, let's ultimately help each other out. I did talk to Fillmore Fire, and I think we're gonna do that program again, where we met at night. So yeah, come out and help out. And it goes as far as volunteer for brush cutting. I know it's strenuous. It's really hard. It's hard work. But come on out and give us a hand when you see us around town. Even if it's a support with you dropping off a burrito. We're there to help each other ultimately. So.
I just want to say
Yeah,
I just wanna say something about what the CERT team is, because some people think that something happens and you're rushing to go into danger. The CERT team is a community emergency response team. First, you take care of your family. As long as your family is fine, then you come out and help the community. So I just wanted to make that clear, that once your family is okay and you can, then you meet up with us and then you help the community. So it's not like you leave your community, I can't sign up because I have my wife. When everybody's fine, then you come and help the community. So it's a good thing. Confident?
So when you're on the CERT team, we're communicating through like, signal or something, seeing where you guys are at, or how do you know where to meet or where you guys are at, or?
We'll let you know. And we have radios, but we have a group text that we text everybody to meet at. Like Michael said, we're still planning to get more training. We had training with the fire department, and we were trained with them as a Fillmore Piru CERT team. And then we kind of, we left them there and we continued our CERT team here. But we are looking to get more people to train, and I will personally text you, Fernando, and everybody else that got a personal text from me today to come to this meeting. I know how to find you guys, so. All I need is for you to understand that help your community.
It is a very communicative team. Let me say, my wife has always got like, who's messaging me? I go, it's the CERT team. They're up. It's raining hard. We got reports on the drains, and we got reports on this. They're very active with communications, and so it's great to see. It's a good energy. So you've heard a lot about volunteerism, starting with the Red Cross, with our Firewise, the clearing that we're going to be doing, the CERT team, which is anything from doing traffic to also helping with our clearing. I was hoping to get, this is more for our retirees or folks who are available on Monday afternoons from about 2 to 5 or 3 to 5, where for 4 weeks in a row, we take a couple hours and we start clearing some of the area behind some of these Main Street houses so that we have better visibility for fire to be able to help defend fires from above. The area above Main Street is a good, we've had a number of fire folks walk it with us. That's the most dangerous part of our community. So we'd like to create about 5 open areas above Main Street where we could fight fires from above, because we could get into a situation, as has happened in some of these fires, where they say the fire has to pull back. The fire's coming too quickly down Main Street. So we want to give safe areas to attack. So if you're interested in volunteerism, please sign up. Can you get ready to take some
I have a
names?
question. So when that fire broke out over here, my boys came over to the house and we got these big trees in the back. One's an oak tree, we didn't touch that one, but the other one that hung over the garage, they kind of on the garage, and he just started cutting down all these big, 8, 6, 7, 8 inch limbs and brought them down. Am I able to cut that oak tree, trim that oak tree as it hangs over, or is that untouchable?
Where it hangs over?
It's in my yard, it's in the corner of my yard, hangs over to the depot area, and it hangs over my house.
Yes.
so pretend it's a sycamore and cut it, don't tell anybody.
That's one tell.
Yeah.
And then call the CERT team so they can bail you out.
So kind of going back to your question on communication, we're really good at doing that. Like if we know, so I'm on a fire weather call with my job at Santa Barbara Fire Department. I take a lot of intel, and this is my home right here, and I'll start texting them weather reports, all this good stuff. So I try to get all the intel I possibly can. Even with fire, everybody knows everybody. Like, I might know someone on a fire incident, and if I'm gone, if I'm on an incident or something, I'm still relaying information. Like that's how tight we are here. So that being said, if we know like a red flag event's coming in, I'll start texting the CERT team. Hey, FYI, in 3 days, we're gonna start getting, Santa Ana winds, we're gonna get our northeast winds, we're gonna start coming in. That being said, we can start prepping, help each other out. Who needs help with leaves? Let's blow some leaves. Chava's great with the blower, give him a call. You didn't think that was funny, But, and it goes back to prepping your house before the incident happens. Pre-planning, calling the Fire Safe Council. They will have people come out, walk your home, let you know what you can do, to make your house more safe.
And Red Cross too, I hadn't known about that. So we got 2 organizations offered to do free assessments for your homes. to
And it's
help you.
pretty neat. It's like when you walk someone's property, you point something out that they wouldn't even think about. You know, and it's that's the best service I could ever think of is Fire Safe Council and coming out to do these assessments. And it's something that we're setting up this brush work, and say someone comes out and assess it, they can kind of piggyback on, you know, your retirees, you know, doing the brush work. Oh, this was said to do. Let's go ahead and do this. And this goes out to everybody. Just because you're on a brand new home by the 126, these Ember events are real now. It's no joke. These gusts, if we can get it, I mean, you see who was in town when the Hughes fire broke out? Didn't you see the air here? And that was in Castaic, on the other side of the 5, right? So if we get something back, you know, a couple ridges away with those gusts, it doesn't matter if you have a brand new home over there, there's still stuff you could be talking about over there. You know, you got synthetic stuff up against your windows, those catch embers, break the window, hit drapes, we have structure fire, that's typical. So it's just not us, and we would call the wildland urban interface, but literally our whole village of pirate.
Well, it's happened to us before, like, 15 years ago when that fire broke out, I think it's called the stage fire, I believe. It started in the other side of the 5 freeway, jumped the freeway, got these hills on fire, jumped the 126, went over South Mountain, and it took off all the way to Santa Barbara.
Yep. So I mean, there's when I do my assessments, I'm literally putting it on like fires I've personally been on, and you can't put anything past anything these days. I mean, a little bit of oak leaves, this can literally take your house out now. But that's where we get eyes on it. I know Stephen had a question.
Stephen's got a question.
Well, I was just a statement, I
Statement.
guess. On that note of the home assessments, we're not an enforcement agency, we're not allowed to go and cite citation or anything like that, it's purely educational. Your information is not going to the fire department, it's not going to insurance providers, so just purely educational and free.
Good.
Right, we've done pretty well with our 2-hour commitment, it's 8:08, and we're gonna end the meeting right now, but I hope we've gotten a lot of you excited about learning more. So at each of our PNC meetings, the 3rd Wednesday of every month at 7 p.m., February is coming up on 19th, we're gonna try to have an additional visitor to try to dive down. I know that I know we'll have American Cross and Firewise Council back to offer up these services, and thank you to all of our presenters. I think we got a lot of information today. And I think when Sonia was talking about all those percentages, you know what? A lot of those people are people that we know. We're in this room because we do care. That puts the responsibility on the people in this room to get to know your neighbor that might need help. Not wait for them to try to, because they're not gonna, we learned from Sonia, they're not gonna ask you for help. They're gonna be in trouble. So we're the people in this room that can ask our neighbor who we think might need help. Do you need help in a fire? Do you need help figuring out your to-go bag? So let's be those people in Piru, all right? So with that, thank you everyone, and we'll